Somebody you are just now. Nigeria was a British West African colony that obtained her independence on 1st of October 1960, same year that French Cameroon obtained her independence, that was 1st of January 1960. 7 years later, Nigeria experienced an acrimonious civil war, which was between General Ojukwu of the Biafran state and Gowon of the rest of Nigeria. Cameroon, the then Federal Republic of Cameroon, played a key role during the conflict in that it served as a refugee center for some of those Nigerians running away from the war. And Cameroon also helped in restoring or aiding diplomatic relations to ensure that peace returned to Nigeria. During this time, both countries had an alliance that became known as the Nigerian-Cameroon Alliance, or a friend in need and a friend indeed. With Cameroon now experiencing the 1967 nightmare that Nigeria experienced in what has now become known as the conflict in the northwest and southwest region, as some will have it, or the conflict in the West Cameroon, as others will have it. Some will call it the war in the northwest and southwest, and others will call it the Ambazonian crisis. Regardless of which political affiliations or which side you choose to identify the conflict, Nigeria, which is a friend of Cameroon, is now becoming a friend in need. But the question many are asking is that Nigeria, which is a friend that is in more need, or a more needy friend, can Nigeria assist Cameroon in helping the movement of the secessionists that comes on end? We all witnessed that the relationship between Cameroon and Nigeria was tinted during the Bakassi crisis. However, it was resolved by the then United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan in the Green Tree Accord, and both nations moved back to the table and accepted friendly ties and relations. This time around, we are witnessing the Anglophone crisis, and lots of people are calling for Nigeria to help Cameroon in resolving this by ensuring that those advocating or agitating and causing harm should be arrested and sent to Cameroon, and Nigeria to enforce their borders in such a way that Cameroonians, those advocating for secession, will not have the ability to move into Nigeria. But it is different this time around, that a friend in need is helping a friend indeed, that is a more needy friend. In this, Nigeria is faced with multiple conflicts. One, the Biafran secessionist movement is gaining steam with the arrest of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Two, the Yorubas are now moving forward to call for a secession. Three, there is an increase in insurgency in the northern part of the country, with herdsmen and farmers grappling. Four, there is massive kidnappings and insecurity in Nigeria. The fifth point here is that Buhari is gradually losing it. The rating is gradually moving down. Can Nigeria, in all of these facets, help Cameroon in resolving the conflict or fighting against secessionist movement? This is House of Commons. With me, Tah Mai Javis. As we kickstart today's program, just to give you an announcement that My Media Prime is the first television in Cameroon to have 4K image, to have the 4K broadcast in Cameroon. That is, we are now broadcasting on 4K, which is the first in Cameroon and West Africa to have 4K. Others are in full HD. My Media Prime is a lone TV station in West and Central Africa to have 4K. I kickstart today's edition with the program by introducing to you my guests, with whom we are going to continue our 1 hour 30-minute discussion. We apologize for the late start due to technical issues. I begin with you, Sir Mutaga, who is a member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. Sir Mutaga, it is a privilege to have you, and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to all the faithful viewers of this prestigious program, House of Commons on My Media Prime TV. Permit me use this opportunity to greet all the militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement who are scotched their TV sets all over the four angles of the globe. Special warm greetings to His Excellency Professor Maurice Kamto, that is watching this program right at the nation's political capital, Cameroon, in Santa Barbara in Yaoundé. Special greetings to the population of the Northwest region, those of my subdivision of origin, Bachibo, and special greetings to my in-law in the Bui division, most precisely Milim in Banso. Special greetings to my co-panelists, whom we are sharing this platform together, RAOUL, who is a very, let me say, patriotic Cameroonian. It's nice having you with me here today.
Thank you very much. Also, RAOUL, a privilege to have you all the way from the northwest region of the country, Bamenda.
Greeting to you, Sir Tah Mai Javis. Special greeting to my co-panelists here, and special greetings to the millions of televiewers that are watching this prestigious program. Not forgetting my brothers and sisters from Northwest and Southwest. All I have to say is just that you should remain calm and have the hope that soon the sun will rise and shine over our beloved nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Also, we await the arrival of Barrister Ngongi, who will be joining us. He's just indicated to us that he will be coming up. And here in the studio, we have someone who is a political, people call him a political commentator, and some call him a social commentator, others call him a critic of the things that are not being done right, and some call him a strong philosopher, and some call him the CEO of Unamumudondu. He is someone that is firm and believe in objectivity, fairness, balance. White is white, red is red, there is no middle ground. He always states that nobody is above the law and nobody should be below the law. That the law is the law and the law should be fully applied regardless of where we find ourselves. He is Samah Abang. You're welcome to the program. A privilege to have you.
Thank you, Javis. Thank you for having me on set again today. Greetings to my co-panelists and to the millions of viewers of my Media Prime. Greetings to fellow Cameroonians, and I am Samah abang-mugwa, as you said, and the CEO of a platform that is meant to speak truth to those in power. It's called Unamumudondu, which is a call to consciousness, a call to order, a call to legality, and a call to fairness in our society. I extend greetings to the people of Tombel. I have followed them closely, and there is a massive wake-up call for an effective resumption of schools in Tombel come September 2021. I want to doff my hat to the Amber soldiers in Tombel, who, as I was told, have accepted that schools should open in Tombel, Tombel subdivision. They have my blessings and my encouragement as an educator.
Okay, you're taking it from the perspective as an educator and welcoming the initiative of back to school. We all know that during the period from now, September, or from now to July, September, October, we shall be having, back to school call. I also now, I don't know if we have Febsar Eric from, from Skype, if he's there, but if he's not there, Febsar Eric, are you with us? Are you with us, Mr. Febsar? Hello? I know we are yet to get to him. He is going to join us. Mr. Ngalim, are you with us? Hello, Mr. Ngalim. Are you with us? Mr. Ngalim? Yes, I'm getting you. Are you getting me? Are you getting me, Mr. Ngalim?
Yes, Javis.
Good morning and happy Sunday.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be on the panel today. And yeah, thank you. But we have I can hear you, but we have technical difficulties on Skype.
Okay, I will get to you. I will start with you.
Good morning.
Yes, I will start with you. Maybe we'll take on a brief transition before we come back. You're welcome back from that transition. If you are just joining us, you're watching House of Commons. I begin with you, Mr. Ngalim. If you are there, I want to start with you. When we look at the Nigeria-Cameroon Accord at this level, what does that mean as far as the fighting the conflict in the northwest and southwest is concerned, and also secessionist movement in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Javis, for having me on the program. It's difficult with the internet connections today, but I think I can hear you now. I got your question to give my impressions about the recent entente between the government of Cameroon and the government of Nigeria and its effects on the secessionist movement. You would agree that the relationship between Cameroon and Nigeria is not very new. It's been a long journey since colonial days. And this was also concretized during the Biafran War, the Biafran Independence War, when the government of Cameroon served as a back wall to prevent Biafra from attaining independence. And since then, they have had a very good relationship, also that culminated in the fight against Boko Haram, despite the intrusion of the Bakassi conflict between the two parties. But that said, the recent declaration by the Nigerian government after a Cameroon minister visited Nigeria shows that both countries are taking the fight against independence movement, the fight against those clamoring for self-determination on a higher scale. In 2018, we had the government of Nigeria arrest and rendate Sisiku Ayutabe and others back to Cameroon. And then recently we had the government of Nigeria bring in Nnamdi Mazi Kanu from Kenya. This shows that both governments are working on the military perspective to clamp down on those who assert their right to self-determination. And one thing I would like to make clear here is that at the coalition for negotiation, for dialogue and negotiation, it's very clear that conflicts are best handled through negotiation, through dialogue, through mediation. The reason is very simple. Once you use a military option, you can kill the momentum for a moment, but that momentum does not die. The momentum continues. The momentum breeds. The momentum grows, and it explodes at a certain point. In the 1960s, the Biafran War was killed, right? But then we now see the Biafrans coming up again. And if the governments of Cameroon and Nigeria think that they would use the military to clamp down on people who are clamoring for the right to self-determination, be it internal or external right to self-determination, then that is a mistake, because these things continue living in their minds. Children today are seeing how their parents and elders are being traumatized, are being tortured, are killed, and they will grow up with that desire to revenge, or that desire to achieve what their parents might have not achieved. So the bottom line is there is no need struggling to fight. There is no need struggling to use a military power. Meanwhile, we can use our capacity to negotiate and to dialogue and settle disputes. Despite the fact that the Biafran was beaten in the 90s, we now have the Yorubas rising up also to claim for their independence. We have the Biafrans coming up again to claim for their independence. And it's very evident, showing that if the Southern Cameroons fails today, the children are also going to clamor for independence tomorrow. So the military option is not an option. It is just a temporary solution that we can have in this conflict. So I would urge the governments of Cameroon and Nigeria to follow the path or the words of the coalition for dialogue and negotiation, that conflicts are best resolved through settlement, through negotiation, and through peace.
We'll be coming back to you, Mr. Semutaga. You listen to Mr. Ngalim. I want us to get your reaction. When we look at this accord between the 1967, when the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War started, between Ojukwu and Gowon, Cameroon played a key role in ensuring that this conflict comes to an end in one or two ways. First, we had an influx in refugees who entered Cameroon, and they were catered for by Cameroon government as per the international norms of taking care of refugees. And we also had a blockage of vital food supply to the Niger to Biafran state. And as we speak, that relationship started within 1967, and now Cameroon is in a position of what Nigeria experienced in 1967. Can Nigeria, a much needy friend, help a friend in need, which is Cameroon?
Honestly speaking, there is something which I said yesterday. If what we have to offer humanity, or what we have to offer humanity is lies and blackmail, calumny, is stillbirth is more valuable before God than us. So we should always learn to tell the truth to help humanity out of their very numerous problems. We know the situation of Nigeria today. Some political analysts will say Nigeria is a failed state, looking at the numerous crises that are plaguing the country. But I think that Nigeria has a lot to do with Cameroon, especially in terms of their bilateral relationship. They have volumes of economic activities that they carry out, the interchange in businesses and all the like. So if you look concerning the Anglophone crisis, I think almost 1 million or more than of former Southern Cameroonians, those of the Northwest and Southwest region, are seeking refuge presently in Nigeria. And you see that Nigeria has been sympathizing with the suffering of the Cameroonians who are there. I think they have interest to work hand in glove in seeing that they curb the security crisis that are plaguing the two countries. Remember, they have the Boko Haram insurgents in the northern parts of Nigeria, and there's also the Boko Haram insurgents in the northern part of Cameroon. So there are two things that they have in common. They are facing security crisis. They also have political problems. Remember that in Cameroon, a majority of Cameroonians think that President Biya has not offered a lot to this nation, and that it's a hard time for him. He loves power, and that other people are also saying that since Buhari took over reign in 2015 amidst the Boko Haram insurgency, he has not offered anything. There is increasing high cost of living in Nigeria, just as like we saw the cost of basic food commodities like rice from 9,000 naira, that's 9,000 naira, I'm sure, right up to 20,000 naira. And then you had the same thing happening in Nigeria. You find that fuel prices also are on the rise. It's the same thing in Cameroon. So there are a lot of things that Cameroon have in common. And they say, it's commonly said, birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together. If they have common problems, they also have to collaborate in seeing that they solve their common problems. So if we are talking of Nigeria, Nigeria is more needy than Cameroon today because it has so many problems. But I want to say, if you go into history and looking at the present size of Nigeria and the economic strength, you find that Nigeria is the continent's most leading economy. And even though they have a very fragile security force, you find that cooperations between Nigeria and Cameroon are necessary because you remember during the Biafra War, one of the things that caused the Biafran militia to resign or maybe to surrender or to be captured was hunger. If Nigeria would maybe stop food supply or maybe stop the supply of weapons from the proliferation of weapons, the influx of weapons through their borders from entering into the northwest and southwest region, you find that it will be practically difficult for the secessionists to purchase weapons through from other countries. So I think the Minister Mbayu went to Nigeria to lobby for such let me say an agreement to be signed. But we are talking of this present dispensation in which most of the secessionist fighters don't need to import weapons. Remember, technology has advanced, and there is locally manufactured weapons that are done. We found that a couple of months ago, the Minister of Territorial Administration in Cameroon had to enforce, let me say, to restrict the sale of metal,
a certain grade
yes,
of
rods in the northwest and southwest region. So with the reconstruction,
the collapse ban.
Yes, with the reconstruction program that they are talking of the northwest region, how will these matters not flow into the northwest and southwest region? So you find that it's a highly complicated something, but I want to think that Nigeria want to prove to Cameroon that if the northwest and southwest region would finally secede, which is not what I am vying for, they will not have to be blamed one day that they were collaborating with the secessionist fighters to get to gain independence. And then if you look at it, you find that they too are facing a similar problem. Like I said, the Biafrans want independence. So what you don't want to happen to you, you cannot encourage to happen to another person. So if they were not facing such problem, I don't know, would they have been willing to collaborate with Cameroon? This is something that only God himself can answer. Then
Okay.
They are also in line with the general campaign for the United States of Africa. You don't forget that it's one of the things that late Libyan guide Muammar Gaddafi was vying for, the United States of Africa. So most African states today think that it's not more time for the splitting of the existing state into other little chunks of countries, and that Africa should be thinking of how to reunite and then come with a common currency and see how they can make a common defense force, and then see how they can come out from the poverty that is plaguing the continent, Javi.
Okay.
So it's a milestone in solving the Anglophone crisis, what I must admit, but then there are lots of diplomatic strides which need to be put in place,
Okay.
to be taken.
Thank you very much, RAOUL. You are from Bamenda. As we speak, the situation is kind of complex in terms of how the modus operandis the modus operandis is moving between the state and the non-state armed groups and the state armed groups. With this accord in Nigeria, Cameroon, can this help, especially in the northwest region that you come from, which has a vast border between Nigeria, because the greatest part of the border is between the northwest region of Cameroon. Can this help? Can this reduce the influx of people moving in and out?
So, Tah Davis Meg, I want to be I'm one of those people that speak out the mind and stands on the foundation of truth, because without truth, I don't think the current situation we are facing can be resolved. For example, because if you look at the situation that we are going through, we have had a lot of our brothers, we have had a lot of our sisters giving proposals, even external hands giving proposals to see that these issues to be resolved. I want to be very vocal on this point that the government of this country is not above the U.S. Congress. The government of this country is not above the European Union. The government of this country is not above all the international organizations that has tried its possible means and best to give proposals.
But of course, you should know that we have an independent state, a sovereign state,
to give proposals
which determine how they run their affairs.
So we need to be honest on the fact that we have had enough time for us to solve this problem within our level.
No. You are not answering my question, Baba. Let me come back to my question. My question is: you are in Bamenda. You are from Bamenda. I know you want to land, but I know where you are going to. But I want to guide you. You are from Bamenda, which shares the majority of the border between Bamenda, most of the villages, the border is quite porous within the area. Now with this accord, we have people moving to go and buy like goods in Bamenda, from living Bamenda to Nigeria, from Wave village, Widikum, all those Menka, Atong, all those Oshen, Jikwa, all those areas. Now with this accord between Cameroon's government and Nigeria, can this produce meaningful result in resolving this conflict, in reducing the influx of weapons within Northwest region, and also can it affect vital trades of Cameroonians moving out of that region?
On the aspect of that, I want to believe that most of this, on this issue of accord, is something that even before the minister going to Nigerian, there were security agents already working on the boundary. So it becomes, what they are doing is, what the minister is doing is just to showcase to the world that he's trying much better to see that he sees the possibility for it. If weapons are to pass through the various boundaries, the weapons will still pass. What I'm saying is, the government of this country know what to do. Going in for all those things are just a camouflage. If weapons still need to enter into the board, they will still enter, Mr. Javis. So the Cameroon government know what to do. They should do the right thing at the right time. Going in for all those unnecessary meetings are to waste state resources. Because at the end, we'll be the one to pay most of those amounts through indirectors. Because if you want to get about the amount of money that the minister went to Nigeria, we are the one to pay. We have been very vocal, and we still say it again, that all those things the minister are doing there is just to camouflage the wall. So my proposal is that they should make sure that they organize something genuine, because what they are doing is they are simply cutting the head of a tree, whereas the root is the core issue which needs to be targeted. Okay. What we need to do is they should be able to come out with a good faith. Good faith in a serious, because we will not come here to be talking about the relationship between Cameroon, Nigerian relationship between Cameroon. This is not the time to be doing that. Because going in for this accord, it means it needs to be executed. And all Cameroonians need to sit behind to watch how the things is being executed. And while doing that, millions of Cameroonians are dying. Okay. While doing that, most of our properties are being destroyed. So there is no time. We cannot be playing games with the life of individual. So we will not sit here and be talking about, he was allowing some people to write history about, no, the government of this country went and signed an accord and signed it. Did that stop the millions of our brothers, that are the millions of future of our youth that are supposed to be prime ministers, supposed to be ministers, from dying? Okay. Did that stop most of the refugees? Did that stop most of the refugees from Nigeria to come back home? Okay. All those things are simply wastage of time, Mr. Javis. The government of this country know what to do. I have said it and I will say it again. Count a ceasefire. There should be that ceasefire. Organize dialogue, a genuine dialogue, not a dialogue of bad faith. Because you can organize a dialogue, but when you have that bad faith, then I don't think that will be able to be possible. Thank you. So grant amnesty, release those political. Okay, because I'm still on my point. I am still on my. No, I'm still on my point. What I'm saying, because on the side of the Nigerian government, they need to take a very big lesson on the case when the president of this country, the government of this country, arrested Seseko Ayok. The arrest of Seseko Ayok did not bring an end to this crisis. Okay, thank you. You don't kill an ideology.
We're coming back. Let's get to Samah Abang. You've listened to the different interventions, and you've been monitoring the event in Cameroon, and basically with the arrest of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya, repatriated to Nigeria, and immediately after Nnamdi Kanu was repatriated to Nigeria from Kenya, just days later, Cameroon government moved to Nigeria and signed an accord with Nigeria. We don't know the details of that, but possibly could it be that the Cameroon government is negotiating with Nigeria to use their friendly ties with Kenya and other nations to put a hold on separatist leaders that probably go to other countries like Kenya and get their activities done to be repatriated to Cameroon? Because immediately after Nnamdi Kanu was repatriated in an unconventional manner to Nigeria as Seseko and Co., we saw Minister Felix Bayo.
Javis, let me say that Nigeria is a nation that practices state mafia, and they are very good at that. State mafia, that's state-sponsored mafia, and they are very good at that. I don't want to call it repatriation or extradition. It was the arrest and transfer of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria was not the first in the history of Nigeria. Take your viewers back to 1984. 1983, there was a military coup in Nigeria, and the government of Shehu Shagari was overthrown. his ministers and his allies escaped out of the country. One of them was a certain Umaru Abdurrahman Diko, who was the Minister of Transport at the time. He escaped to London, where he took refuge. In 1984, he was kidnapped in Lagos and put in a crate. A military Boeing left Nigeria to London on the pretext of going to transport diplomatic luggage. So it was not to be like searched like an like some ordinary flight because of that element of diplomatic immunity. Fortunately for him, it leaked, and so he was rescued at the airport. The guy finally died in 2004. Do you know who was the president of Nigeria at that time? Muhammadu Buhari. That's 1984.
Under a military government.
And so, in 2021 now, he is repeating successfully the same maneuver with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Fortunately for him, and unfortunately for the Biafran leadership, it was with a rugged African country, Kenya. Buhari is on record to have said that when matters of state security are concerned, human rights take the backseat. So he gives a damn to human rights when it has to do with state security. And that is why, whether the arrest and repatriation was conventional or not, that doesn't matter. What we want is, have we attained the results? Have the objectives been attained? Yes, full stop.
It's the same like
every other thing. Every other thing.
The Abuja High Court give a ruling.
I want to give you the background why I said Nigeria is a nation that sponsored, that practices state mafia. And that is why the arrest and repatriation of Siseko and others. Remember, there was we talked of the Naira 10, or I don't know whether they were 9, and some other 37 who were arrested in another state somewhere around the
Taraba state.
Good, around Taraba, with defiance and defiance to everything that has to do with human rights and international rules. Cameroon is faced with the same situation, and Cameroon has benefited from that act of state mafia by Nigeria once, with the repatriation of the southern Cameroon. Good. That should already tell you that Cameroon would want to benefit again from the expertise, from the skills of Nigeria. And that is why it is no coincidence that Cameroon will send a diplomatic mission to Nigeria just days after the successful arrest of Mazi.
Because if you put the
tells you now that
put the cards together, let me guide you. Let me give you so that he puts the cards together. Before Sisoko and Co were arrested, there was a seal letter from Cameroon to Nigeria, and that after that seal letter, Sisoko and Co were arrested. Now Mbayu is going back with a seal letter to Nigeria.
Probably without credits to congratulate. And how did you do it? And how can we also do it? Can you help us do it with these other guys who are still a thorn in our flesh? That the message this should give to Amazonian leaders in the diaspora: do not step your feet in a country where you are not sure of your security. Don't. As I said, Umaru Diko succeeded because he was in the UK, where human rights are respected, where people still have respect for the rule of law. Nnamdi Kanu did not succeed in Kenya because, from what we get, the Kenyan government is cleaning off its hands like the illegal Pontius Pilate, that we were not involved at state level. But you would not arrest a high-profile activist of that magnitude in Kenya. A private jet flies in from Nigeria to pick him up without the Kenyan government being aware. Which means I am saying that there is a complicity. There was a complicity. And at a time when Kenya also has its own problem with Al-Shabaab in its own territory, in East Africa. Remember, Kenya is like the giant of East Africa, while Nigeria is the giant of Africa as a whole. And so Kenya has a lot They have
And
similarities.
like
The same insecurity crisis with Islamic Al-Shabaab in Kenya is what Nigeria is going through. And Kenya, unless you have to like prove me wrong, is not a very rich nation. The northern leaders in Nigeria had placed a bounty of 100 million naira on the head of anybody that we are placing a bounty of 100 million naira for anybody who would provide to us, to Nigerian government, the head of Nnamdi Kanu, I mean alive, not his head as in the head, but present him alive. So there was much at stake. Coming back to the case of Cameroon, unfortunately, this communication does not flow, and for maybe reasons of diplomacy and state security, we don't expect the government to like tell us what they went there to like discuss. But we can draw inference from maybe previous examples to say that Minister Mbayu certainly had a message of congratulation and a message of willingness that we will be your apprentices. Can you help us learn how you succeeded to do this? This is a feat that very few countries can do successfully. How did you do it? Again, as I said, before the arrest of the sister and the mother of the Amazonian activist Chris Anu, he had traveled to Ghana to locate accommodation to move his family. I am sure with the arrest of the family and with what is happening now diplomatically, he will not dare step his feet again in Ghana. The youth leader of the government of former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo, Charles Blegude, during the post-electoral crisis in his country, fled and entered Ghana. It is Ghana that arrested him and then handed him back over to the Ivorian authorities.
It's like this man of
that should tell you that
of Rwanda.
That should tell you
of Rwanda.
Fine.
Or the manager of Hotel Rwanda who was illegally flown from wherever in Dubai state.
No, we are talking about now a newfound African complicity or conspiracy to help them. Yes, to help them fight insecurity in their national boundaries. It would be, and I think it would be in the interest of African countries, which is what they are now trying to do. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu could be flown from Kenya, East Africa, to Nigeria,
West Africa.
Blegude left West Africa. Blegude was repatriated from Ghana to Ivory Coast. Seseko and the others were sent back from Nigeria to
West
Cameroon.
Africa to
So we are saying that it is time for the activists, Amazonian activists and IPOC activists, to know that there is a synergy and there is a diplomatic complicity now between the respective countries. So nowhere are we safe.
Okay.
Which means that they have to now retrace their steps and know where they put their feet.
Okay, briefly. So I think I go to Mr. Ngalim briefly.
By saying that he's just in line with what I said here, that the existing African states are not willing to let go an inch of their territory any longer. The splitting of Sudan into Sudan and South Sudan is considered diplomatically as one of the continent's most dreaded mistake. So you see that today the African countries are bent on correcting that mistake, and what he just said is it sounds like a warning, or maybe it's like an indicator, or maybe it's a kind of a wake-up call for those African countries that think that they can go on self-determination for independence. That looking at the present Africa, it is difficult. And then I think that if the existing African countries were at a platform on which they try to see that there is better governance existing, it would have been better. But they are only stopping countries, let me say portions of nations that want to on self-determination, without ensuring that there's an effective mechanism on checking the human rights abuses and ensuring that there's good governance in the existing African countries. That is where you find that the African Union is failing.
Okay. Mr. Ngalim, are you there with us? First, are you there? Hello? Maybe you give us your take how Nigeria is experiencing this fallout between Cameroon and Nigeria. I want to get your take. How is Nigeria experiencing this?
Javis, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, come again with your question. I didn't get you fully.
How you people are in Nigeria, the Nigeria Accord, Cameroon-Nigeria Accord, how is it the Cameroon-Nigeria Accord, how is it going to help Nigeria to fight against secessionist movement in your country, and how is it going to help Cameroon? Sorry? Hello?
What they need to say is just to showcase to the world that is trying more modules to see that it is
I can't hear you.
I'm getting you. I'm asking that. I'm getting you. I'm getting you. How do you people review this relationship between Cameroon and Nigeria?
Okay. Okay, Javis, thank you very much for having me. If the studio can hear me, I'll need confirmation to that effect.
Yes.
Okay. As you put it, the romance between Cameroon and Nigeria, the renewed romance, as you like to call it, it's really not strange. And when we heard of an alliance between the faction of the separatists, like the Cameroon government would like to call them, that's the AGOC of that is led by Dr. Choayaba, and the IPOB, which is the independent IPOB led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When that alliance took place, it was logical for us to hear that there will be some connivance between Cameroon and Nigeria, because the problems are similar. The problems are similar. They are all that of separation. So the truth of the matter is that, from my perspective, it is not going to be something. It is not going to be a walk in the park for the governments, because just like I would like to ally with what Mr. Bernard Galin said earlier, that a crisis of this magnitude, if whether we like it or not, it's already an ideology, and it cannot be killed with the barrel of the gun. It is unfortunate, no matter what the two countries ally to do. Basically speaking, from experience, all we've seen is all they believe in is military might. They believe in just the barrel of the gun to quell down these very serious points that these two factions are bringing, or these two movements that are fighting for self-determination, which is a universal human right. So the way forward is not just for us to hear that Cameroon and Nigeria are allying to quell down the crisis in the southern Cameroons and the Biafran region of Nigeria. That is not the way forward. The way forward is not just to ally, but it is to ally and tactfully look at the matter, and tactfully go to the negotiation table, and also looking at the very, very, very root causes of these particular issues that the two countries are facing. So if we are to learn anything from history, then what we are supposed to learn from history is that ideologies have never been killed. We have never been killed with by military might. It is always an ideology can be defeated only with a superior argument. You tell the Ambazonian people, the people of the southern Cameroons agitating for an independent state called Ambazonia, that, hey, see, this particular fight you are fighting does not make sense. This is the way to go. This is the way to go. We are stronger as one Cameroon. We are stronger as one Nigeria. Look at what we have on the table. Look at the new arrangements that we have, and see how things should go. And you put heads together and dialogue. But if it is the barrel of the gun, history has taught us that it's never going to work, because we saw what happened in Eritrea and Ethiopia. The barrel of the gun did not work. Eritrea eventually got free. We saw what happened in Sudan, the larger Sudan, that eventually experienced separation back in 2011. Barrel of the gun is never the way forward. The way forward is negotiations. The way forward is looking at the root causes of agitations of this magnitude, because they are never going to die down.
Okay.
Just like Mr. Bernard Ngalim said, in 1967 to 70, when the Biafran War took place, it was quelled down for some time with the gun, and we saw unnecessary loss of human lives. And that is exactly what is happening in the southern Cameroons at the moment, unnecessary loss of human lives. But hey, mind you, it can be called for some time. Before you know it, hey, the younger generation will still come up.
Okay, Mr. Ngali, I want to get your reaction to this recent accord. Basically looking at how it's going to affect those of the diaspora moving to other African nations, as Sir Samah puts it, that it is a kind of synergy that is telling us that those who may be moving from the West, the Europe, America, and the rest, the activists moving to other countries, they should be careful that at any point in time they could be handpicked. Because if we look at what happened even in Rwanda, where the former hotel Rwanda manager was illegally smuggled back into Rwanda and is now facing charges of genocide, which he is stating that he was illegally arrested. He is not a Rwandan.
Thank you very much, Javis. I think this question merits a lot of reflection on the part of African politicians, African scholars, and African those who love Africa. Because we cannot build a continent on illegality. We cannot build a continent that runs contrary to the protection of human rights. As the executive director of UNAMOMUDONDU said, Buhari is actually on record for saying that human rights come in the back burner when it concerns state security. And Africa cannot continue running in this way. We cannot we cannot kidnap and rendition people across the continent. Meanwhile, we have laws on the books. Before Nigeria renditioned Sisiko Ayub Tabe to Cameroon, they violated their own laws. And when the Nigerian courts found that the fundamental rights of Sisiko and Co. were violated, the Nigerian courts called for a redress of the situation. That is, the rights should be restituted as they should have been, but Buhari and his government did not comply. Now we see Buhari and his government renditioning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Nigeria. Whatever the case, what Amazonian leaders already know is that they cannot joke within African countries. I think the lesson from the Sisiko case instructed Amazonian leaders enough, and they already know that they cannot come across African countries, and particularly in French-speaking countries, because the relationship between these countries is so strong. I should not say the relationship between these countries, I should say the relationship between these governments are so strong that it's difficult for one government to see someone who is claiming independence from the main state and let that person go. Most countries in the world face these threats of people wanting to break up, which of course it is their right. It is their right. In the Kosovo case, the International Court of Justice ruled that it is not illegal for a group of people to ask to break up from their country, or to ask to break up from a country in which they are part of. So it is normal for people to say, we are tired, we don't want this relationship again, we are gone. And it is now based on the government of that country to put reasons to justify why this country should stay, why this part should stay. And the case of the Southern Cameroons is extremely very different, because the Southern Cameroons came as an entity, what they call in national law as a people. And as a people, you have certain rights. And one of these fundamental rights is the right to self-determination. In 2009, the African Commission of Human and People's Rights recognized this right, the Southern Cameroons as a people, and as people who have the right to self-determination, and then made the offices ready and available to discuss between the Southern Cameroonians and the government of Cameroon. The government of Cameroon has never followed up. So I think the African governments must avoid illegalities, because an illegality would only produce another illegality, and the more the illegalities continue, the more you violate rights, and the more the people feel frustrated and will not come back and will not feel comfortable working with you.
Okay.
And yeah, you would also agree that as the war continues, the population has seen that the Cameroon's military is not as invisible, it's not as powerful as they had claimed from the onstart. I'm sure that by 2016, I heard professors of political science, military and geopolitical arrangements talk on TV and said Cameroon's military is so powerful that the Ambazonian movement was going to be crushed within 2 weeks. And within those 2 weeks, the Ambazonian military had only rudimentary weapons.
Mr. Ngalim, we'll be coming to that, but briefly, I want you to react to this briefly, what you just said, so I will get to Mr. Samah. You talked about the military incursion, but there are scholars and experts and security analysts who are saying that the command given to the military is different from the command that was given to Boko Haram, that if that command had been given to Northwest and Southwest, we would have experienced a conflict which would have easily come to an end. That is not the same command.
You know, Javis, we can come on TV and say what we think and what we imagine without having the basics. When you read human rights reports, be it from Amnesty International, be it from Human Rights Watch, be it from International Crisis Group, you see the same trend of human rights violations, meaning the actions are the same, the actions are similar, and this can only come from authority. And before I give the mic back to you, one thing I need to clarify is that soldiers should always remember that if push comes to shove and the International Criminal Court comes to judge or to try this case, they would try them on individual basis. Whether you respected an order to burn a house or to kill people or to burn people alive, that would be your personal responsibility, and your hierarchy would not take blame for it. So criminal responsibility is individual and it's personal. By the way, we even see the Ngabu case, whether they were given instructions to go do what they did or not, what is clear is that in Ngabu, the junior soldiers are being tried. Meanwhile, the top soldiers are shielded by hierarchy and shielded by authority. So soldiers need to know that their responsibility is personal and will not be diluted on grounds of I was respecting instructions from hierarchy. Thank you, Javis.
Thank you. Sir Samah, you want to react to that?
Yes. Not only react to what Mr. Ngalim just said, but to bring up another issue. I think it would be foolhardiness on my part or on the part of anybody to think that what Cameroon is doing. Let me make this correction that an accord has not been signed. We have not been told that there has been an accord. It is just a diplomatic visit. And whatever we are saying here is just speculation. We may be right, we may be wrong. But I think that it will be foolhardiness on my part or on the part of any critical or observer to like think that Cameroon is playing to the gallery. In our state of desperation, the nation is struggling to like catch up and maybe hold on to any source of succor, any source of respite, any source of assistance. And the closest we can get, the most immediate you can get in your time of need is your neighbor. That is why even in our daily life, we are encouraged to maintain relationships of good neighborliness. And so that is what Cameroon and Nigeria are doing. Remember, we have in the north what they call the multinational joint task force, which is made up of the countries in the Lake Chad basin, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria, which has helped a lot to reduce the intensity of the incursions of Boko Haram in the north. And it is but normal that at the level of the southern zone, where the Ambazonian crisis is quite rife, the two governments should also get into a synergy. So Minister Mbayo's visit to Nigeria, in as much as I said before, it would definitely be in line to congratulate them on the success of the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu. It was in every regard, it should also be to like ask for support to block the borders. But if you were to ask me how successful, minimally successful, it will definitely register some successes, but minimal. Why do I say minimal? Do I really expect that because Cameroon has reinforced security ties with Nigeria along the borders from the northwest, Taraba State down to the southwest, it means that Amazonian fighters will be annihilated and maybe hemmed in between? No. I am not sure there is any secessionist group or any secessionist element that imports weapons through official custom boundaries. The weapons entered through the black market. How did the weapons that are in Nigeria, the proliferation of arms, I mean heavy arms, we are not talking about AK-47s again in Nigeria. Nigerian headsmen, Nigerian kidnappers talk about AK-49. So they have gone beyond the stage of AK-47. And how do they acquire those arms? Not officially.
They're experiencing
that's what I'm saying.
Arms.
It is not officially. One, through what? Black market. Through the capture of soldiers. We have seen cases, even with military reports here in Cameroon, where amber fighters overwhelmed security posts, killed soldiers, and took away their weapons. They get the same weapons or weapons of higher caliber than the military. We are talking about a case of... Yes. At least if you give me 1 minute. If you give me 1 minute. That is why I am saying, you are now coming to the point that there will be a minimal success, but not as much as the government thinks it will get. Because...
At least it's success.
But I said so. That's why I am saying so. That the fact that the weapons do not enter through the official custom channel, where you can check them, it will be difficult again. Okay. Can you explain why? Can you explain why in the Zambisa forest in northeastern Nigeria, Boko Haram still thrives? That the Nigerian army has not been able to root them out. Which means that in as much as you are struggling to like maybe sandwich them, there are zones that you don't master. There are zones in this country, there are more than 30 subdivisions in this country where Cameroon's government's official influence is not felt, where the boys are the ones controlling, which tells you that we should not just expect that with this new romance it will be victory. The victory song is still a long way from us.
But Raoul, I know Sir Mutagai spoke, so let me come to you before getting back to him. But Raoul, when we look at this synergy, many are stating that it will at least reduce the effect of the conflict in terms of reducing collaboration between the non-state armed groups. They will not easily have access to go to Nigeria and back, meaning that the common man is going to feel the effect of this. Those who are doing business in Nigeria between Northwest and Southwest, who frequently go to buy, it means that there will be a triple effect of security checks and Nigeria. Now, thus the Nigeria custom have been given the green light to to climb on business people entering leaving Bamenda to Nigeria. I'm talking because you're from the Northwest and you experience you witness this every day on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think that decision about even the issue of that romance, I'm one of those people, the person that will just be very vocal and straightforward, because we cannot come here and be talking about history. We need to strike. I have said it and I will said it again, that in so far as the government of this country has decided to prolong this issue, they should know that a lot of people will be targeted. And secondly, security officers are going to take advantage. The effect will be too much, because security officers are going to take advantage, especially with the situation that we experience on a daily basis, especially in Northwest. We have seen numerous cases of security officers taking advantage. So what I'm saying is, we need to be very careful, because from what I am observing, from my observation and analysis, if the government of this country cannot take this thing with the good faith, let them know that this thing can become a global issue. Because when now it becomes an alliances with the military and the Cameroon security, there will be times that the military of Nigeria will not be able to identify business agents that are leaving Cameroon to enter Nigeria. And at the end of the day, you discover that most of those innocent individuals are being targeted, and it can be a family relation to one of the other, the family relation to another military, and just like that, and you discover that it will becomes now a global issue. And we have seen the case even with the issue of the Bakassi. How did it come about? Soon you will get some of our brothers that will decide to look for an area to seek refuge. Seeking a refuge there in terms of business, and at the end of the, you start seeing occupation of territory, because now you will discover that the boundary will be open, and once it is being open, the next thing now becomes issues of dispute. So what I'm saying is the government needs to make sure that it handle this issue before the thing becomes a global issue, because if you cannot handle it, it will become a global war. Arms is never an option. Whether going for a relationship with Nigerian, they should know that our civilians are dying.
Okay.
We cannot live on an issue of relationship while people are dying. Let's go into the immediate issue. Let's go to the root cause of the issue and settle it. Because going for this prolongation, people are dying.
Okay. Semutaga, I want us to look at this from a different perspective, because when this announcement was made, we listened to separatists or activists from abroad and different sides stating that, wow, nothing will be done so far as this is concerned. It will not affect them in one or two ways. We constantly see some of these same persons traveling to other African nations, getting their businesses done. I want us to look at this very well. Samah pointed out an issue, and I'm sure Ngalim also stated that we cannot build a continent with irregularities. Now, this is it. Rwanda had an accord and illegally moved the former Hotel Rwanda manager, who is having citizenship in, I think is in UK, and also have a resident in US. He was extradited illegally on a transit. They said it happened in a transit to Rwanda. Now he's facing charge of genocide. Come to Nigeria. Nigeria successfully had a transfer of Nnamdi Kanu to Kenya, from Kenya back to Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu has a British nationality, and he was illegally moved to Nigeria as we speak. Now, Cameroon, Nigeria successfully extradited Cameroon, the Naira 10 back to Cameroon despite international outcry and condemnation, yet we still have this. Now we have 4 nations in Africa. Rwanda, that we see as a model of development in Africa, involving in this act. Now we have Nigeria involving in this act, Kenya, West Africa involved in this act. Is it not a synergy now among African countries? Say, hey, let's work on this in such a way that any secessionist movement will just get them arrested and send them to the host country, so that it's like a deterrent factor, so that people should not advocate again, and it should stop the influx of activists. So are activists not in danger to even step their feet in any of the African countries?
Mr. Javis, you would bear in mind with me that in 2015, talking to the German international news outlets, that's the Deutsche Welle, President Buhari's media advisor, that is Adesani, told the Dutch news outlet that the security threat in Nigeria, as a result of the fact that some top government officials are conniving with the West to oust Buhari from power. So today, the increasing security threat in Africa, you see, most African leaders tend to blame the West, that it's manipulation by the West so as to gain access into Africa to exploit natural resources. So there is that increasing skepticism with the increasing trend of self-determination by most parts of the countries in Africa. So it has pushed most African leaders to begin to think that divided we fall, united we stand. So Africa has suffered a lot from colonialism. It's still suffering again from neo-colonialism and all the like. So you would not only point at these African countries as being the only ones that have violated or are violating human rights. You look at the participation of the West in fueling chaos in Africa, because let us look at the case of General Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, who was ousted in power. I'm not sure that it was an insurgence that happened in his nation. It was masterminded by France and in collaboration with the United States of America. So the world today is gradually is losing its stability as a result of the fact that many are pursuing cash rather than uplifting the moral values of human existence, that which of alleviating poverty, taking care of the underprivileged and all the like. So the West is responsible for the instability we are facing in Africa today. Because
my question is, Africa connections. Are Africans not coming together, leaders not coming together and stating that let's arrest or kidnap any other person that steps the legs here based on the security threat? Because we have witnessed Ethiopia is having an agitation at the Tiga region, which started in November last year, and the Tiga rebels who are now in Makelele after a ceasefire was called and claiming that they are regaining their steam. We are witnessing a similar situation which is about to happen in Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, where there is a secessionist movement in Nigeria. Now you come now to the same in Cameroon, the separatist movement in Cameroon, go to Nigeria, separatist movement in Nigeria, and you go to some part of Rwanda, there's an agitation there. That, so this is a threat to many African leaders who say, okay, let's come together as a Jange group and take a decision whether, as you said, human rights should go behind and objectives to come in front.
Mr. Javis,
so is that not a threat that any separatists or secessionists or activists that step the leg in Africa is under threat?
Mr. Javis, I don't think I'm in a way escaping from your question. I don't want to be naive.
So that
I want to be very strict and stern and straight to the point. I said this. Remember that most African countries are still accountable to their former colonial masters. So you should agree that, you must accept that. As long as these colonial masters are still eating fat, you remember that the conventional partners we had prior to independence are not willing to lose grip on their former colonies. So they see that those parts of the African countries that want to gain independence are shifting their focus to other countries for a better negotiation, as to be more free-handed to function or to manage their destinies. So these countries, for example, the France, the Britain and other like, we don't forget the quietness of Britain with regard to what is happening in southern Cameroon is not, let me say, a naivety. It's a calculated attempt. So they have certain agreements, they have certain treaties, they have certain business commitments, which are still beneficial to them. So they're careless about the suffering of their former colonies, and they don't want to intervene.
So you're accusing the West and Africa of violation.
In a nutshell, I want to tell you that if those who are for self-determination for independence want to achieve independence, they have to pull their strides stronger by engaging other things and not thinking that they have to rely on countries in Africa which are still paying allegiance to their former colonies to assist them in achieving independence.
Samah, what he's saying is a kind of a bit contra, because these same activists are enjoying full immunity from their host nations in the West.
Javis, studies in geostrategy and diplomacy indicate that it is in the interest of bigger nations when smaller nations are in chaos. The philosophy of chaos and disorder teaches us that much of what is happening in the less developed world is a manifestation of the desire by the rich to perpetuate chaos and disorder. Because as the African saying goes, when the children of a great man fight, upon his death a stranger inherits. So while you are there wasting time fighting, they are there tapping. They are not only tapping, but they encourage and sponsor. It is not like they do not know what is happening. It is in their interest, in their capitalist interest, to like perpetuate chaos and disorder in the less developed world. Javis, let me come. You asked Mutaga a question. Is this what is happening in Nigeria, or what are just happening in Nigeria,
and in Kenya,
and in Cameroon, which we have explained? Is it not a clarion call to activists across the African continent? It is. It is for them to understand that we should tread with caution. We mind where we're going to. But you should also bear with me that it doesn't automatically tell us that African countries as a body have come together to realize that we must we must watch each other's back. No, that would be naivety on your part. Where you might not understand it, but unofficially or unofficiously, Rwanda, Uganda, and Congo Brazzaville, you would not imagine how much they reap from the chaos in DRC. Much of the wealth of Rwanda is tapped illegally from DR Congo, which is the elephant from where almost every neighboring country fits, even smaller countries like Tanzania. Where did Kagame trade before overthrowing in Rwanda? Where did the former president who was killed, whose son Kabila, where was he trained? In Uganda. And in all of that, they sponsor and encourage fighters, rebel fighters, because they know that they will have a part of the gain. The question you would ask is, what does Nigeria stand to gain if Amazonia becomes independent? And what does Nigeria stand to lose if Amazonia becomes independent? It is all about bilateral interest. It is all about interest. Let me take you back to 2015.
Briefly, so that I'll get
when the former Sudanese president Omar el-Bashir was under an ICC international warrant of arrest. He visited South Africa as part of an OAU.
He was actually arrested in
ICC
Africa.
activated the arrest warrant. But South Africa, because of complicity or solidarity, African solidarity, said no, it will not work.
South Africa said
And
he
so
was
he left
he
left immediately. He left immediately. But South Africa could have activated that arrest warrant. What I'm saying is that the message to African secessionist activists across, be it in Cameroon, be it in Nigeria, be it in Chad, is that you now must tread with caution, because there is a newfound solidarity, romance amongst African dictators who are the prophets of illegality, to do everything in their power, to suppress by complicity or by complacency, which is what we are saying. Now, ask me again for the last question, sir.
We'll be coming back to you. Let's get
all right, sir.
We'll be coming back to you. I don't know if Mr. Galim, are you there with us?
I am.
Mr. Galim, before in all this, is that not a message to tell? In all this, is that not a message to tell the separatists, the activists, that don't step your feet on Africa? That if you step your feet here in Africa, you are going to be arrested? Because we look at Rwanda, had the same issue and extradited somebody, and there is equally a case in Rwanda, currently a case in Rwanda, where somebody flee Rwanda and entered into Tanzania. That person was illegally removed from Tanzania back to Rwanda. There is a case now between Nigeria and Kenya back, and Cameroon has experienced this. So is that not a call to say, hey, regardless of which African nation you put your feet in, we are going to arrest you?
Yes, Jarvis, I think one of the biggest problems Africans face is Africans themselves, and that is why the continent is where it is today. I remember when the Ambazonia Governing Council and the IPOC entered into an alliance, and there was so much to talk about it. Dr. Yabacho of the Ambazonia Governing Council said Ambazonians don't understand their problems. He made allusion to the fact that Ambazonians want to satisfy or to please the West instead of aligning with the people who feel the same pain as they do in order to push or to move their agendas forward. That made me think about the relationship between the common man and the government. You know, in all these arrangements between governments, members of government, in picking people and renditing them extraordinarily to their countries where they may suffer torture or where they are suffering torture, shows that the common man is not part of that strategy. And in as much as governments act without the common man, these things would continue and the movements would continue. The common man in Calabar or in the states in Nigeria bordering with the southern Cameroons does not care whether Buhari rendits Sisiku or not. But then the common man identifies with the person he feels a common pain with. That is why refugees have received good welcome in Nigeria. Now, talking about the secessionist leaders, it is I know that they know they cannot tread or move around Africa very freely because they might be picked up and rendited to their countries. I just want to make this one very little clarification. Extradition is a legal process that starts with the home country making a written request to the host country that is keeping somebody, and the host country now makes a written request to the courts that the courts should order this person to be sent back to his country of origin. And inasmuch as this request that is received by the Minister of External Affairs does not go through a court for a court to pass judgment, that is not extradition. That is extraordinary rendition. When you just kidnap somebody, put the person on board a plane and send the person back to the country that is requesting that person, that is extraordinary rendition. It is not extradition. Extradition follows a very clear process. Kenya has an extradition law. Nigeria has an extradition law. The United States has an extradition law. Many countries have extradition laws, and this process must pass through the courts. It does not happen anyhow. But then in Africa, we are seeing a repeat of violation of extradition laws where people just extraordinarily rendict people back to countries where they risk torture. I was listening to Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer recently, and he actually said that Nnamdi Kanu had bruises all over his body. When he asked, he said he was chained onto a bare concrete floor and he had been beaten. That is the same thing that Sisiku Ayub Tabe and the rest complained about. So it's very important that African activists in Africa should know that governments are using the terrorism laws to target them. And Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer also said that the person who arrested or who kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya said the Nigerian government linked up with people in Nigeria, claiming that Nnamdi Kanu is part of Al-Shabaab terrorist group, and the terrorist group is causing incursions into Kenya. So I just want to draw a line, a parallel between what happens across the continent. Once you rise and you criticize the government very strongly, they term you a terrorist. And that is what they are using to attack human rights activists and other defenders across the continent. So I think and I believe that Ambazonian and Southern Cameroonian activists know that anywhere they are in Africa is a threat to their security. And I believe they have been taking enough precautions to avoid that. Okay. Thank you, Javis.
Thank you very much for that. I don't know if Febsar Eric in Abuja is there with us. If he's still connected, Febsar, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, now we are slowly coming to an end of this program. I want to get your view on this. What results can we have from this accord as far as Nigeria, Cameroon is concerned, this renewed romance? And if it's not going to produce any result, is it a clarion call? Is it a clarion call for all secessionist movement in Africa to say that, hey, if their leaders are abroad, they should not step their feet in any of the African countries?
Okay, thank you for that question, Javis. Predominantly, what we experience in Africa is a violation of laws, the same laws set by the people of the countries or the governments of the different countries. The truth of the matter is that I think your postulation is right, because it is seeming that they are gradually concerting, African countries are concerting to challenge separatist tendencies or self-determination calls across different African countries where these are involved. It is seeming like that is the case from what happened on the 5th of January 2018 at the Nera Hotel in Abuja, where Sisiku Ayub Tabe and the rest were kidnapped and shipped to Yaoundé, down to what we've seen happen recently with the case of Nnamdi Kanu and even some other examples that you quoted earlier. It is but clear that there is a concert, there's a solidarity among the governments of Africa to try to quell down any calls for self-determination. And this is clearly a legal violation, because activism and calls for self-determination is a fundamental human right. And people are, and just like Mr. Ngalib said, It seems like different governments are evoking just the terrorism aspect of terrorism law to try to quell down dissent or dissenting voices. That is, interestingly enough, that is the case, and that is why the alliance between the Ambazonia Governing Council and the IPOB of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was, in my personal opinion, was a welcome alliance, because it is seeming like the outcry, the self-determination call in the southern Cameroons, is falling on deaf ears as far as the international community is concerned.
But we cannot be looking at peace. We are talking about peace here. We are not looking at the alliance. We are talking about the renewed romance of Nigeria and Cameroon, if we can produce results.
Yeah, no, logically speaking, Javis, logically speaking, they are not even supposed to be told. Activists around the world are not supposed to be told, because clearly we know African governments are predominantly governments of violation, so they're not supposed to be told. They should know that Africa coming into Africa is a threat to their personal safety. So that's the conclusion of the matter. It's simple logic.
Okay. We are slowly but surely coming to the end of this program. Say, Samah, you want to react briefly?
Maybe to corroborate what Eric said. Remember that in 2017, when the Anglophone crisis metamorphosed into an arms struggle, it happened through the Cameroon-Nigeria borders. Ayabacho infiltrated from Nigeria into Akwaya, and so it is but obvious that we would expect that Cameroon should continue to maintain and oil a diplomatic, security-prone relationship with Nigeria. It is obvious that they needed it. But let me go back to what Mr. Ngalim said. It's unfortunate that we might not really have long-lasting results, because the Biafran crisis in Nigeria did not start with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It started in the 1960s. In 2001, we had what they call MASOP, Movement for the Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra. In 2012, we had Biafra Zionist Movement. And in 2012, that's when now we have IPOB, which is the indigenous people of what? Biafra. Which means that it is a philosophy that doesn't die easily. The Amazonian crisis in Cameroon did not start in 2016. It started with the SCNC of Goji Dinka and the others, and has metamorphosed into something now violent. And so, in as much as I don't expect governments to sit and lie on their laurels, that is why what the Cameroonian government is doing in its newfound romance, as you say, with Nigeria is simply doing the needful. In your times of desperation, you make friends even with the worst enemies, where you think that there is an interest to protect at a particular time. Okay. Now, if you ask me, what successes do we expect?
Yeah, briefly, we are out of time.
It's unfortunate that the financiers of war in Africa do not use, again, as I said, official means and methods. They use the black market. How do these movements make arms? They import arms through the black market. They acquire arms. Even we have had cases in some other countries. We might not have actually had them in maybe Cameroon, where even state officials and soldiers of the state forces sell arms to arms groups, to
we have an official,
a
military man that was, I think, 3 weeks ago, that was caught in one of the...
And you should also know that there are cases of military men who defect and surrender their arms. Okay. Some surrender and stay, some surrender, defect, and then escape. So we would definitely have a situation where Ayabacho cannot enter Akwaya again. It is impossible. But to say that it will bring the much desired peace that the governments of Cameroon and Nigeria desire, they may not have it in the nearest future.
Your last word, Mutaga Fogo.
Sir Javis, I would like that next time when you invite us, you get people who deal with facts rather than history. I do understand that history remains the ideal laboratory for critical thinking, but we are handling current events, issues. So when you give much time to the other panelists and they talk history, you frustrate other persons who are on the panel. So what I was saying is this. When you look at Nigeria presently, you find that Nigeria cannot help Cameroon in any way. When President Buhari came up in 2015, he swore his heavens that he was going to collaborate to work to see that the Boko Haram insurgent is completely eradicated. You bear in mind with me that since he's coming into power in 2015, the number of kidnappings have increased. So today we know exactly how the kidnappings happen in Nigeria. It is collaboration between the militia groups and the regular soldiers. There is a testimony by one of the Nigerian former soldier who said the boys, they call them the thieves, they are the ones who brought them into the game. They give them their arms, they go out, steal, kidnap, and get ransom. They get ransom for it. So I don't think that Cameroon going to Nigeria is going to get any better lessons from Nigeria on how to solve the Anglophone crisis. What I think is this: there are no laws that exist in this war. Presently, at this present dispensation, we find that the laws are there just to protect the interests of the stronger people. If Cameroon thinks that they want the Anglophone crisis to come to an end, because the Anglophone crisis broke out amidst the sufferings of the people of the Northwest and Southwest region, the bad governance that exists in this nation, what it needs to be done is that politicians, religious leaders, and all the like need to come to a common front, and they do everything possible to oust the different regimes in place, and make sure they install a democratic system which will permit the democracy to go further without the manipulation of the constitution. Because if there was change at the hem, of the Supreme Magistracy, you find that every leader that comes in will be judged, and there would be adequate accountability, and then will not find problems happening. If there wasn't the problem of marginalization, there wasn't a problem of bad roads, and let me say bad governance in this nation would not have arrived at the problem of the Anglophones calling for separation. So they need to dialogue. That's what we are advocating for, and then need to stop going for cosmetic measures. If Cameroon likes, they should collaborate with Nigeria 100 times. We'll never solve the Anglophone problem.
But when you talk about people presenting history, everybody is presenting facts now.
No, I said history. When they give them most time for historical facts.
But is it facts or facts?
I came here with historical facts, but when I came, I realized that we had a lot to talk rather than history.
Yes. No, before coming to your last word, your last word.
All right. What I'm saying is, this is not the first time that the Nigerian government or the Cameroon government are meeting. This is not the first time. They have met on several occasions and nothing keeps changing. So what I am saying, and I will keep on saying, is millions of brothers are dying in Northwest and Southwest there. So what I want is that they should organize that dialogue, genuine dialogue, release all political prisoners unconditionally. That will be the only means to see how call for a genuine dialogue. Then more to that, once this genuine dialogue is there,
thank you.
It's okay.
No time.
It's okay,
Thank you.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's a very good.
As we go by the proverbial saying that there is no honor among thieves, permit me say there is no legality amongst dictatorships. You don't expect any act of legality between Cameroon and Nigeria. They will use illegality just as they will use every dishonorable means to achieve their aims.
Galim, your last word before we go. Briefly.
Yeah, the behavior of African leaders should ensure that they bring in the public in public matters so they can make decisions together. And the government of Cameroon should remember that in order to resolve this conflict between them and the Southern Cameroonians, they need to accept an internationally mediated settlement where we have a third party that can guarantee the implementation of the results. I also want to appreciate Mutaga for wanting to transform this panel into a CRM political campaign. No, so Mutaga, we have to talk the facts. We have to bring history to set the basis for current events. Yeah, I know you want to talk about CRM. Thank you.
No matter the matter, what matter is your matter. No matter the matter, what matter is your matter. And what should matter for you this day is that stand for what you believe, what must be done, and love each other in all that you do. To all my people are one. My Media Prime is the first TV in Cameroon to broadcast on on 4K. 4K is My Media Prime is the first TV in Cameroon to broadcast on 4K. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Fengu John Bange.